right, welcome back to Rant and Ragequit. I know it's been quite a while since we've done one of these. Today we will be reviewing Persona 5 Royal. It's on the PlayStation 4. It came out March 31st, 2020, and it's a re-release with extra content of Persona 5, and it's really good, right?
Yes, I agree.
All right. Well, the topics for reviewing are kind of the same as our debates, where we go over the graphics, gameplay, story, music, and replayability. You know, just a little, let you know what's up with the game, whether it's, you know, worth buying at full price, or, you know, if you just want to wait till it's on sale or discounted, or not to even bother with it. So starting with the graphics, I think for this one, when you compare it to Persona 5 and you see the comparison of the artwork, you know, like with Ryuji talking or Anne talking, like the sprites
are more animated.
They're more animated, right?
Yeah.
And then the artwork is more colored, and it looks
more vibrant.
Fresh.
Yeah, and I think they upscaled the actual gameplay. I want to say like they prepared it for like PlayStation Pro, as opposed to the original Persona. It was like, oh, it comes out PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3, right?
No, PlayStation 4.
Was it? PlayStation 4. Sorry. Yes. I'm thinking of
a different generation. Yeah, that's a different generation. I mean, I can't really see a lot of technical differences with it, just because I don't know. It's like I always look at Ryuji's face, because Ryuji's face when he talked in the original one, like it looked flaccid, and it's just like the mouth kind of like flaps, but I mean, you're mostly looking at the dialogue and the artwork, and the artwork's kind of like having the mouth move.
Yeah.
And like, you're not really like looking at the character on screen, but if you do, I mean, they look good, but I mean, there's room for improvement, right? There's definitely room for improvement. But visually, I think the game is absolutely stunning. Like the usage of the reds, the blacks, the whites, you know, the menu, everything looks very sleek, and it's pulled together very well. What do you think?
I think they're very good at choosing complementary colors, and I think even in the other Personas, I mean, you have the yellow menu on Persona 4 and then the blue one in Persona 3. I think that the artists that are in charge of presenting all these different nuances for like the UI, it's just even like how the dark outline of like everything, just it looks comic book style, but it looks good. It doesn't look childish. Yeah. So I like that kind of stylized way of presenting a video game. I know that, you know, some people could lean towards, you know, I just want minimal UI and everything else is like, you know, focused on, you know, the environment, the character, but this has a good balance of both. Like it has its own style with the characters, like the sprites and even the three-dimensional characters, but the menu and the music, well, I know we're talking about graphics, but the menu is just like really appealing.
And I always liked in the original Persona 5, like I liked everyone's design when they're in their like Phantom Thief outfit. And the new characters also kind of have that aesthetic, and they're all really well designed, like Kasumi and Maruki, and his like the palace later on. There is a lot of new detail to it, and same with Mementos. You know, it's kind of, I mean, it's the same, but they kind of changed it as you get lower now, and I kind of like
music.
it a little bit.
We're not talking about music, but yeah, the graphics, they did change little things here and there. So
yeah, and
the costumes too.
Oh yeah, they added a lot more costumes. Or all the costumes that were DLC in the original are now in the base game, and there's new costumes you can buy, of course.
Yeah.
But I mean, graphically the game looks good, but it's the gameplay that really shines here in the Royal, because it just adds so many more features, like the showdown. I love those, where like two characters like hey, I got an idea, and then Makoto and Ryuji, like they do something that looks out of Mad Max, and then
Mad Max and JoJo's, because they do the little
Makoto's doing the
punching,
and then what was it, Haru and Makoto have the WWE, you know, she gets the chair. It's great. That's great stuff. And then
Ryuji and who else has it? There's also, hold on, I'm thinking.
Oh, Ryuji and Yusuke.
Yes, because they have the little bar scene.
The little bar scene, yeah. So those showdown attacks are really fun. But I think another really good mechanic that they added was the technicals. The technicals, right? Because now you can like put someone to sleep, and if you use a certain element,
it
knocks them over and it hurts them extra. So that was a nice way of adding, because before in the original Persona 5, I didn't like use sleep and confuse. I didn't really use it. The only time I used it was to weaknesses. I used it to farm like infinite gil. That's the only time I'd ever used it in the original. But now it's like, oh yeah, I can like confuse them and then hit them with lightning or whatever the combination was. I don't remember off the top of my head. But that was definitely an upgrade to what
Quality
it was
of life.
before.
Yeah.
Another thing with the gameplay that I enjoyed a ton was that all the boss fights have a new face to them.
Yes.
That's fantastic. You know, that is just amazing. Like Madarame fucked me over, okay? Because when he has his like clones, they're all different elements, and I cast I think wind, and he had like the one that reflects wind, and all four like the wind spells came back and killed me. I'm like, I'm not proud of this game over, but you know what? I'll accept that it happened to me. Who kind of stands out to you, boss wise? Like the differences.
I'm trying to think. I mean, Madarame, I think the one I hated the most was the one in the space palace. Oh man, had those robots, like the wave after wave, and I'm just like, damn it, like I have to knock them all down in order to go on to the next wave.
That one took me the full 30 minutes.
Yeah, it did. I'm like, oh, I was looking at the timer. I'm like, oh, am I going to have to reset? And it was normal mode, and I'm just like, I can't imagine it on like
on normal
hard.
As well. And I know our friend Sal plays it on the hardest difficulty.
Yeah.
But like even on normal, that fight is
hard.
dumb. It's just dumb. And like I know Justin was playing it too, and we just all complain about it. Nick,
Yeah.
you know, everyone hates that fight. Like that's the one fight where they changed and they kind of made it worse. I mean, that fight was already kind of nothing to begin with, but now it's just okay, right? I do have to kill them all at the same time, and then like I can do it. And then they end up blowing up, and then he resummons all of them. Like, okay. And at first I thought, oh, maybe this is just part of his, boss fight. He just keeps saying wave after wave after wave, and then I'm down to like 8 minutes, 6 minutes. I'm like, oh shit, it's not. I have to kill them all together.
Same, yeah. And I had Makoto and Haru together because I'm like, okay, obviously I have to have Haru because that's like her dad's palace.
Exactly.
But then she's like weak to one of them, and I'm like, and I thought I had one of the personas that had like a separate psychic ability and a separate nuke. Was it nuke?
Yeah, it's a nuke.
Yeah, and so, but I ended up having one stupid persona that had an AoE psychic ability, and then one of them is like immune to the nuke or to the psychic ability. It was so frustrating.
Yeah.
Eventually I got it.
And then the one that's like doing all the damage is like immune to everything, right? Because he puts like a shield on them or something. I will say another boss that really stood out with the additional phases to it was Shido in the boat when he 1v1's Joker. That was really cool. Like I actually felt like, it's the main hero against the main villain, like they're just going at it,
they're
like
dishing it out
by themselves. I needed that. I didn't know I needed that in the original, but playing Royal, that's definitely something I needed because it feels so like personal because it comes down to the guy who kind of screwed over.
Yeah, you screwed up your whole
life.
life.
It's just like, oh wow, and he's just chunky. Shido has so much health. But yeah, that fight was really fun. And then of course Kaneshiro paying off like insects to fight with him. That's new. And that was kind of a good use because eventually when he runs out of money, he can't do anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm trying to think what else did they add gameplay wise. Jose and the mementos.
Yeah.
I like that you could get more XP, more gil, more items.
Yes.
That was very convenient because before you had to grind with the confuse spell and just kind of do it for hours. The enemy would throw you money over and over and over and over. And I did that for like 3 hours straight to try to get like as much gil. It's not Final Fantasy. As much Zen, right? Is it Zen? As possible.
Yeah.
But this time they made it so much easier that I thought I was going to have to grind in this game like a lot. And I didn't have to grind at all.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, there's a star. Like, let me get
it's like it actually made mementos fun.
Yeah.
And
the changes in the music also. Depending on the level.
Yeah, I did that. That was a nice change to it. And I did like that. Eventually, like I just gave Jose all the stars to get the money to max to 200 as fast as I could. That way, if I go down all the floors, and I'm like, well, let me go back up all the way instead of just like teleporting. And by the time I leave, I had like triple what I came in with. And I was like, perfect. I don't have to grind anything. And that was definitely a nice addition. I also liked the fusion alarm.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's when I'm like, okay, here I come. I'm gonna go like.
Who am I sacrificing?
Yes.
And especially when you're making their best weapons, and you have to fuse a persona with that black Kogata or something, right?
Yeah.
Is the knife, and you can make the ultimate weapon. But if you do it during a fusion, it has bonus stats on it, And that's even better. So like I had to wait, and I would go to the fortune teller and make sure that I get more fusion alarms. So I go to mementos, fusion alarm, I go back to the top, I make my weapon, go out, and then just keep doing it over and over until I had everyone's best weapon with the bonus stats on them.
Nice. So they super OP
Yes. So I don't know what I'm going to use that on, because you can't fight the twins
with it.
in the first. No, you can't fight them with it, but you just can't fight them in the first playthrough. You have to do a game plus.
Yeah.
And then they added Lavenza. You could fight her too, but I didn't get to that point yet. So there's extra fights, and then of course there's the paid DLC for the fights with the protagonists from Persona 3 and Persona 4.
Yeah.
I don't know if you bought them. I've bought them. I tried them out. I mean, they're fun fights. I didn't get the items from them because I didn't get like the total number of points you need to get the items. But it's still.
Would you say is like worth getting, worth buying?
I think it's worth buying if you're a Persona fan, and I'm not like a huge Persona fan. I like Persona because Sal got me into Persona, and I know you had been trying to get me into years, and like he lived with me, so I was kind of forced to watch it, and I fell in love with it. So like I was like, well, let me try to get the DLC because it looks fun, and I want to like learn more about the guy from 4 and about the guy from 3. You let me have or borrow your Vita to try 4 out. So I like the fights, but I definitely don't think it was worth the money I spent because I didn't really know them that well, and the fights are kind of like okay, and but the accessories you get from them are nice, but I don't know if it's worth the I think $10 or something. Now the one that is worth it, the one I don't know if it's worth it, but it's like easy mode is the one with the new personas with Izanami no Okame, the one that has where he does the damage based on how complete your compendium is. So if your compendium is 99% complete and he does like 3 hits of almighty damage, it's just broken. Like you're wiping out everything in that game. So that definitely makes it easy. So that one's kind of worth it. Like if you just want to have a casual experience, of course on easy it's piss poor easy, honestly. Can you think any other gameplay that kind of like stood out to you?
I mean, no. I mean, you mentioned all the ones that I was thinking of. I think specifically Mementos was one that like when I started playing it, because I know when we first got it, we're like, oh, let's think about like things that changed. And I'm like, wait a minute, the music's not the same. Music over and over and over.
Yeah, the whole way down in the original, it was just like kill me now.
Yeah. I would just have to like mute it.
I'm like, okay, I'm gonna fucking die in this place. What do you think about the will seeds in each of the palaces where you had to use the grappling hook to get to them?
I liked it. I think the grappling hook concept was interesting because now it didn't make it so linear. I think that the maps were a little more interactive. I mean, they were interactive already before, but it was still lacking. I think they made the maps a little more, you want to explore before you get to the deadline now, instead of being like, oh, well, I don't need this chest. I'm just going to try to rush the boss as soon as possible. Now it's like, okay, they reward you for exploring every nook and cranny of the maps.
Right.
And then you get the item that's like pretty nice.
And they did make like unique areas inside each of the palace to try to like force you to use the grapple hook, and I feel like those kind of like I said, they just felt a little forced. It's like, okay, this is a section, and you're gonna be able to use the grappling hook here because it was made for the grappling hook.
Yeah.
But I think it could have been used better. Although I do like that you could use the grappling hook to shoot at an enemy that's super far away and pull yourself to them. Yeah. That was a really good addition to the game. I really, really enjoyed that.
Especially with the red enemies, because if you see them far away, you can surprise them.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
And then the guns. I mean, I feel like the first Persona, you had to really ration your bullets because they didn't replenish. Right. And so they would replenish every, like, okay, you play the whole game or the whole day and then they'll replenish the next day. But in this one, it's like they replenish at the end of the fight.
Yep.
So then you could use it now. And it's like before I'm like, I don't know. I mean, if they're flying type, I might want to shoot them, but I want to wait until it's like a red mob versus wasting it on like trash mobs.
That's a good point. Yeah, I do actually. That's actually a great addition to the game because, like you said, I used to be very conservative with my bullets. Yeah. I didn't want to use them for anything. Yeah. And now it's just like.
Especially if you're like grinding, you're like, okay, I think I want to get to the boss this day, so I'm gonna save all my bullets for the boss.
And it always makes me think of that part from Sunny in Philadelphia. I don't know if you've ever watched it, but like Danny DeVito's like, so anyway, I just started blasting, like that's exactly what I felt like when I was using the gun in the Persona 5 Royal, because you can just use it whenever you want. Moving on, the story, I mean, it's the same kind of story from Persona 5 with the addition of those new characters in the third semester. I mean, Did you like that? I mean, they did sprinkle them throughout.
I liked because I mean realistically when they put in the counselor, I think they were able to incorporate it into the story in a fluid manner. And then the same thing with Kazumi, it's like they put them there in a way that they don't necessarily like break your immersion.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, oh, okay, I could see that if I've never played Persona 5, I would have thought that those two were originally in the game, the way that they're presented.
Yeah. I do wish that they had kind of used them a little more at the beginning, but like as you get closer to the end of the base game, they start showing up a little more and a little more and a little more. And I like the rack up or like the lead up to that, the build up to that. But I kind of want more.
You wanted them to flesh it out a little more?
Yeah, flesh it up. Like I wanted them to kind of like join in on the palaces beforehand. And speaking of which, like in the original game, Akechi, you know, he's the traitor. I mean, it's not really a spoiler if you play the original. But I was wondering like, yeah, exactly. But I was wondering like how they were going to incorporate him because I know he joins your team. And then you realize the third semester is mostly focused on him and Kasumi. And, I just wish there was more. Like I wanted one more palace. I know I've talked about this with everyone who's been Persona 5 Royal, but one more palace in the third semester I think would have been great to have more time with Kasumi and more time with Akechi to kind of build their characters up even more than what they were in the original and in this one. And then Maruki is obviously like a really great character. Like you said, the way they incorporate him, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Like the counselor to come deal with, like, it makes perfect sense. So yeah, the plot, I mean, it's basically the exact same as Persona 5, just with the little additional, you know, Joker gets...
Yeah, and if you're in for, like, the story, I think, you know, it's something to consider.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. If you've never played Persona 5 and you have to pick between, oh, well, I got to get 5 or I mean, that will come later, or Royal, but definitely go with Royal because the story is the same and more.
Yeah.
You know, you get more content, you get more bang for your buck with this. And then that leads into the music part, which all the new music in Persona 5 Royal is great. Yeah. It's fucking great. Like whenever you do the first fight in Kamoshida's palace, I'm like, here comes Last Surprise. And then it's like, da, 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 it's Take Over. And I was like, what is this? This is awesome. Like it gets you so pumped for the fight and like just the game in general. And there's new tracks from Maruki, Kasumi, like throughout the game that it kind of adds to it and elevates it.
Enriches it.
And on top of what was already there from the original. There's a couple songs towards the end that I like quite a bit. All right, sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties. I'm not quite sure what happened. But anyway, we're just ending up on the music and just saying how that it enhanced what was already there and made it better. And a lot of the new songs were really, really good and well composed. Did you have a favorite song of the new ones?
Not necessarily. I kind of like... So I got the original soundtrack from Persona, and then I bought the Persona Royal one, and I just kind of like to listen to a little bit of both. And I think all of them, I mean, one that I don't really have one that stands out to me at the top of my head, but I still always have a soft spot for Futaba's Palace music.
Oh, yeah. And
that's like my favorite.
My favorite's Price from Kanashiro's Palace. It's just one of my favorites.
But I think a lot of the new one is still it complements it well with the original one. So
like, what is it? Ideal and Realize or something, Maruki's, and then there's Colors Flying High.
Colors Flying
High. Oh yeah, the intro song. Yeah. All right. So coming down from the music, one more topic is replayability, and I'm just gonna say for me personally, I don't want to upset Sal, but I don't think this is a game that I really need to replay. Because when I play a game, I want to platinum, get 100%, you know, get all the trophies, you know, do everything I can. If it's a game that I really, really love and enjoy, which Persona 5, it is, and Persona 5 Royal definitely is. But having played the first Persona 5, the base one, and then playing it again to get the trophy with the second semester, or like later on when you have to fight the twins, like that already felt like a lot because I was just like, okay, it's the same cutscenes. That's a lot of talking. It's just a lot to process. So when the Royal was coming out, I thought it would be more different. That's why I thought Kasumi and Akechi would be there more with Maruki. And it was basically the same game with, like I said, them sprinkled in. So I'm just like, okay, fast forward a little bit through the dialogue. But then I noticed that like some of the dialogue was tweaked just ever so slightly. So then I'm just like, okay, I guess I have to listen to it all. So most of it, almost all of it until like the end after you beat the final boss and then it goes into the third semester, that's all new. But before that,
It's same old.
It's same old. Yes, like there's new dialogue ish, and the new characters do have moments, but I can't see myself replaying the game, especially since they made the trophies a lot easier to get in this one compared to the first one.
Yeah.
And the secret bosses aren't even part of the trophy list this time, and it just made it easy. You don't have to get 100% compendium, so you really don't have to fill out anything. So it's just super easy to do. And so I beat it, and yes, I would do New Game Plus to like maybe enjoy it, maybe fight the twins, but right now I really don't have it in me to go in to do it again.
So you probably don't have the incentive because you already platinumed the original.
Yeah. Well, I platinumed this one too.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess like the process of, your thinking process,
yeah.
Like how you kind of work through it, the frustration, platinum, because you're a person that likes to complete the whole game. But maybe had you never played the first one and you're like, oh, this is going to be, it seems like easier to platinum. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, it is definitely easier to platinum.
So I think maybe in my defense versus, because you're a person that platinums easily or that seeks to platinum all the games.
Yeah, because I want 100%.
Yeah, you want the 100%.
I've got that OCD somewhere in there.
And so I'm the type of person, I don't really pay attention to the trophies. And so if I platinum this one, great. If I don't, that's great too. I personally would probably replay it just to kind of see, like, did I miss something in the story? Or, probably because I want to, like, finish up my compendium. But I can see how you're saying that, yes, the story does get tedious, though. Like, over again, I think...
and, like, sure, you can fast forward through it, but still, like, you can't skip the dialogue. It's just a bunch of, like, fast forward, and it's just like, okay, let's get to the palace. I'm ready to go. Like, can we get through this?
Especially the intro. I'm like, okay, I've seen this intro maybe, like, 4 times already, because I replayed it twice, the original one, and then I'm replaying twice
the intro's difficult to get through, because it's just like, okay, I'm ready to start.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good slow, but it is slow.
It's slow once you've already if you've already known what's going to happen, you're like, okay, come on, let's pick it up a little bit. But I could see that if you're the mentality, the type of person that doesn't really care about trophies, I could see that person replaying it over and over and over because they fall in love with the characters or they really like the music and like the gameplay. But I could see that if it's someone that's very like, I want to platinum every game. It is a long game. That's just what it is down to it. Like, it's a very long game, over 100 hours of gameplay. And so for the people that really want to platinum this, just get the Royal. Don't get the first one, because that's going to be a lot of stuff that you have to work to platinum it.
Yeah, and definitely, this is definitely the better edition of the two.
Yeah, it's going to be easier to
Speaking of someone that replays it a lot, I got Justin into it because, I had to get someone into it since you guys got me into it. And I hooked him. Like, he's never played Persona 5. Royal or the regular or any Personas before it. I think he's played through it 3 times already.
And he's probably like, I don't care. Like, I love the game. I just love it. It's not about trophies. But everyone's a little different. But I think that for those that are just enjoying it because they really love the story, I think it's a lot easier to replay Royal than it is the original one.
So coming down to the verdict, I think I know where I kind of land, like between the, buying it at full price, or are you going to wait for a sale? Are you going to just rent it or borrow it from a friend? Or are you not going to bother with it? But for me, I think personally, I would go just wait for it to be on sale. I mean, you could buy it at full price. That's not going to matter. But I think this game has been out before with the Persona 5, the base game. And with this edition, if you've never played it before and you didn't buy the original, I'd say, like, if you want to buy it at full price, you can. But I think it recently went on discount or on sale like a couple months ago, and I'm sure it will go on again. So for me, I think this is a wait for it to get on sale again.
I think so too. I agree, because I mean, I am in the same boat in the sense with that mentality of the original already came out a while back. Don't buy it full price. Like, if this was the first original Persona, I'd be like, buy it full price. If it's brand new, came out a couple weeks ago, please get it. Now it's like, it's been out a couple years. I think they regularly have sales for it. And it's not on sale because it's a crappy game. It's on sale because they want people to buy a lot of them.
Right.
And so this is one of those that I do agree with you that if it's on sale, you should get it. Like, snag it. I
mean, I know we bought it.
I
didn't buy it the day it came out, but I definitely bought it in the week. So, but yeah, I think if you're kind of like on the fence about it, or even in general, I think it's just one of those games that definitely wait for it to be marked down a little bit before you get it, because it has been out for a long time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to conclude our review of Persona 5 Royal. Next time we will be reviewing more games, and we'll be doing another debate very soon. We'll hope to see you then. Until then, later.